we're Buddhists, and the path that we're traveling is the Bodhisattva path. So the first thing that Bodhisattvas want to do is develop their generosity, which in my opinion is one of the things that is most needed in this world today. Generosity is where you stop looking inside to find your happiness and start looking outside, looking at other beings that you want to help. Okay? And bodhisattvas are very special beings. And they use many different ways to travel along that path. Generosity is the first of the 6 perfections. In other words, the 6 perfections are where they do their actions for the benefit of all sentient beings. So generosity is when you do something for another being with no thought of what you're going to get in return. It's just looking from within the heart, within your mind, and saying, I want to give this gift to you. But it starts in the mind and the heart. And why is that? Why is it the first of the far-reaching attitudes? Because I think it's the most important. It's also the easiest to do, you know. And it's more than just realizing helping others help themselves. What that means is when you help somebody, it helps you. But it's more than that. It's wanting, you have to want to do it. It's not just giving somebody $10 because you know it's going to be good for you. It's because you give it to them because you know it's going to help them. You have to want to do it. And the reason I think it's the very first one is because every single sentient being is suffering. And bodhisattvas in training recognize that it's the exact same suffering that they are feeling. In other words, I see you're suffering, I know I'm suffering, and I don't want either of us to suffer. So I'm going to be generous to you. I'm going to be generous to you because it helps me in the long run. And I said it's the first one, it's the easiest one. And it leads to, in future lives, being able to be getting resources to help you be more generous. And it's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy. That's great. And it's not measured by how much you give, but how much you want to give. Right? And but generosity is, you can do it in your mind, but it's also very helpful if you do it an action to go with it. You don't always get that opportunity, but there it is. And it's when we let go of our own attachments and turn our striving outwards for happiness. So, I think I've been watching the news a lot, and I don't see much generosity going on in our election. But imagine what it would be if instead of denigrating the opposition, you're generous. You're reaching out to them and saying, how can I help you? Imagine what that would be. Yeah. And it's not just in America, but it's all over the world that we really need to reach out and help. Most people, they see something going bad on the news and they say, how can I help? They want to help, but they don't. But the internet makes it so easy to help nowadays. All you got to do is punch a couple of buttons and you can send help and hope to people who really need it. And there was always this, when I was growing up, there was a phrase, what the world needs now is love. Most of that is, it needs generosity. We need to reach out to all the other sentient beings and help. And that's something we can do in our minds and in our hearts, is be generous. And that's what I urge everybody to do, for the sake of all sentient beings.